Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty. This week, we're going to be talking about a variety of things, but I'd like to start off by saying we're still using the same water background as the last few weeks because it's still snowing in southwestern Pennsylvania, and information about how to get that background will be included in the description of this video. Furthermore, the shirt I have on today, Autism of Action, I'll include information about how I got that shirt and what it benefited. And there's other ways you can support them too, so you can find out. All right, without further ado, we're going to get into the first half of this week's topic, and we're going to talk about our about the men's mental health. Men are identify as male, and men are very reluctant to get mental health help. They don't think that they're the problem. They don't think it's a problem. They don't feel that it's an issue for them. Everything's fine. They don't want to own up to their emotions. It's manning up. They have that true grit about their self. And sadly, it's been proven that not speaking up against your mental health has been proven. Sometimes there's a big chance. Over 75% of the suicides in the United States, uh, that is of are men, and it was likely that a man kills himself every 20 minutes, and is a statistic. More so, men living in small towns like rural areas have particularly high rates of suicide, such as in flyover states such as Wyoming, Montana, New Mexico, and Utah have some of the highest rates of suicide, and Alaska also has a very high rate. It's been attributed to many factors. One factor is the decline of the manliness jobs, such as industry, forestry, fishery, and leaving large swaths of men in certain regions unemployed or underemployed. In the current economy, many men are finding it difficult to fulfill a breadwinner who support job to support their family. So sometimes the female has to of the relationship or the other relationship has to go out and find the job, and sometimes that can be shown as a sign of weakness. Um, Very high rates have also been found in of suicide have been found in veterans, young American Indians, and gay men. A common factor among these groups may be perceived or real rejection from mainstream society, leading to strong feelings of alienation and isolation. These factors are explored and in a video about low-income men struggling after divorce, and it's true. When the men, it's a lot of times in the world of divorce, uh, the man in the relationship is always pictured as the bad person. Not always true, but can is majorly portrayed as that. So, that they're put this guilt of shame on top of them, and then having to ask for help on top of that is one of the most signs of weakness that if they see it as a sign of weakness, and we don't want to do that because it's embarrassing. And even for me to ask to do things or, ask for help sometimes is embarrassing. But I know now that I accept it just as much as I accept my autism diagnosis, and that I have to do it. And and getting help will not solve the problem. If I don't get help, it won't solve the problem. And I need to reach out. And it's very important to reach out to the supports and contacts that you have. You need to build natural supports. And, mental health can help do that. It can help connect you with natural supports and have people with likeness to your situation. Another factor that it comes into play with men and mental health is the co-occurring of substance use or it's a predominantly male problem, although females do use as well. But it's 3 to 1 compared to females when substance use is evolved, and they were sometimes refer to it as a slow motion suicide, and given that can often be a premature death. Um, Research indicates that many men engage in substance abuse in response to stressful life situations, such as being employed or divorce, and almost 50% of marriages end in divorce. Many men report that negative experience in the family courts, and data struggling that suggesting that only one in six men have custody of their children, often with minimal visitation rights. The separation and loss can be soul destroying for the men concerned, again leaving them isolated and alienated from mainstream society. As such, substance abuse may be maladaptive response to a male violence situation. Again, high rates of substance abuse are observed in certain subgroups, including veterans as well as American Indians, implying the need to target interventions within these groups. So, people, say, well, go get some help. But the help may not always be there, and the utilization is low. Evidence suggests that men are significantly less likely to use mental health services in response to a mental health issue in comparison with women. This is especially for Black, Latino, and Asian men who have much lower utilization rates than white men, and as well as with women, because in those sub races, such as Black, you would get it's normally taken care of through with the stigma of prayer and going to your clergyman. And Asians, in general, they don't openly and they're not very open about their mental health as it is. Asian rates in mental health is very low, and they're very reluctant. It's a very private problem to them, and so they don't want to admit that they have a problem, and and they're very stigmatized. Latinos, it's a slow process, but with the trust and everything like that. So it's very important. Men who are suicidal or have substance abuse problems are much likely to suffer in silence, especially minority men. This is often attributed to the stubbornness, such as traditional American notions of masculinity that emphasize that true grit, doggedness. And however, another explanation is that it's not finally met the men's needs, and it's not. Finding a male therapist or a male care person in the mental health system is very rare, and to have a good one at that is very rare. So there needs to be work done, but it's not. In a lot of therapies, they tend to emphasize on medication and talk therapy, but some research shows that men prefer actions over words in the face of stressful situations. This may explain the popular and authoritative practical interventions such as men's sheds. These are physical spaces where isolated and lonely men gather together for practical activities such as woodwork and repairs, while receiving peer support in the process. So, what can be done to improve men's mental health? First, men's mental health should be recognized as a social issue as much as a health issue, with attention paid to issues such as unemployment and family disruption. Secondly, there should be more choice in the formal mental health system, with more male-tailored options that respond to males' unique needs. Thirdly, mental health departments at the various levels of government should create specific strategies to improve men's mental health, and with the setting targets and goals based on recent research. And this may go some way in reducing that silent crisis of men's mental health. I want to thank you for listening. As always, be sure to tap the notification bell if you want to hear more of these videos. Be sure to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whether you like. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. As always, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dustin's Dynasty. On the web at dustinsdynastyusa.com. I'm also on many streaming platforms for this vlog. We've transformed into a podcast at Dustin's Dynasty ASD, including Spotify, and I'm also on Pinterest and TikTok at Dustin's Dynasty ASD. I want to thank you for listening, and have a good week, everyone, if we don't see you in the second half.